Joining us today is a 23-year veteran in the United States Air Force. He joins us as a pilot of the F-15E aircraft and someone who has flown more than 300 combat missions, Lieutenant Colonel Tom Yeager.
Yes, so I flew the F-15E Strike Eagle, which has been in the media most recently with the downed aircraft over Iran, with the weapons system officer behind enemy lines. So probably everybody knows what the F-15E is now. Yes, that was a two-seat combat aircraft dual role, and then I had a Navy exchange flying F-18s in the at Fallon Naval Air Station, where the home of Top Gun is. I was a Red Air pilot, so basically a bad guy. If anybody's seen Top Gun, Jester, we our role was to simulate Chinese Russian threats to ruin the day of the Blue Air
Okay, so almost like a scrimmage. So you're playing the
war
opposing team.
games. War games.
Okay.
Yeah, yep. So I was on the bad guy side. So we supported the Air Wing before they deployed, and also the Top Gun school out there, providing them Red Air assets.
And where are you from?
I'm from Ashland, Pennsylvania,
Okay,
Schuylkill County.
the Skook.
Yeah.
Now, tell me what it was like growing up in the Skook.
Oh, I look back on it as wonderful. I mean, probably one of the greatest joys of my life. Growing up, American flags all up and down the street, church barbecues, a VFW on every corner, your pierogies, Yingling. Just things I look back on that is very iconic to that area, and
Still iconic.
it is very
Yeah.
iconic. Yeah. So growing up, just kind of young boy outdoors. We had dirt bikes. We'd meet up in the coal hills and ride and carry our 22 out and shoot rifles and I had no idea really what I wanted to do at a young age, but I was always into fast stuff like race cars and snowmobiles and dirt bikes. And I saw Top Gun in 1986, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. Not only is it cool, but like there's like really good looking girls that like these pilots and it looks fun and it's kind of I was athletic, so it's right up kind of my alley of being
Sure.
type A. So that kind of set the pace right there.
And do you need to do you need to clear your throat? How you doing? Okay.
Yeah, can we just turn up mine a little
Yeah.
bit? Maybe we should edit out the good looking girls because my wife will be mad.
Oh no, you'll be fine.
No,
She's one of them.
she is.
Yeah.
She knows.
How's that? Check,
That's
check.
great.
Okay.
That's great.
And I think you're good to clear your throat because I'll go in at the end and edit those out. Um. So, what high school did you go to?
So I'm at the North Schuylkill High School.
Okay.
The Spartans.
Okay. And then what did you do after that?
So after that, I went to Bloomsburg University, and my objective to become a pilot was to join the ROTC there.
Okay. So you
But
always wanted to be a pilot.
since ninth grade, that was when I saw Top Gun.
Okay.
So I kind of buttoned down academically, got involved in a lot of clubs, sports, kept that going, and I went to Bloomsburg, walked on the football team there, and I was only 17 years old. I took up a biology degree because um, my fallback plan was to go into fish and game because I love the
Okay.
outdoors. If that didn't happen, but I was obviously not ready for college at Bloomsburg and athletics and the academic demand because I only lasted a year and a half before I was asked to leave university.
They asked you to leave?
Oh yeah, I failed out.
Wow. What is
Which
that? How does that? Are they nice about it at least?
Well, the football team kept me on for another semester.
Okay.
But after that, it was like I got the letter and said you were basically kind of walk away from the university because your GPA is so bad. But
Oh,
that was actually a blessing in disguise
sure.
because what that did was that kind of reeled me in and said to myself, "Wow, I just failed out of college. Like, I want to be a pilot. Like, where do I even start?"
Yeah,
Um,
I don't even know.
no, so I knew I had to go in action fast because time was ticking. So I went and joined the Air Force, enlisted, which was crazy. And quickly, I got sworn in up here at the Wilkes-Barre MEPS, and I was off to San Antonio, and I found myself next in Minot, North Dakota, working in the ICBM field as a security police forceman, guarding them, securing the nuclear weapons.
Was it difficult to enlist having the background you had at Bloomsburg, or was it, hey, you are who you are, come on in?
Yeah, Bloomsburg was in the dust,
Okay,
so I kind of put that behind me, and it was a lesson in life that I look back on that is just when I culminate the 20, 30 years, it was just a stepping stone, a kind of a lesson that helped me proceed on to the end game.
sure. So now you're in North Dakota,
Yeah, I'm in North Dakota as a enlisted airman, and
but not a pilot yet.
oh, no, no.
Mm.
See, you have the enlisted ranks and officer ranks.
Okay,
To be a pilot, you have to have a 4 degree and go through a commissioning source, Air Force Academy, ROTC, OTS. So this was now a really hard kind of path for me now because now I have to now get a degree and find a commissioning source. So my objective there was do the best I can do as a security forces airman and try to get notice, and that's what happened. And I became the base airman of the year. I got a really big award. Had the support of the commanders and put in for the Air Force Academy. So I got a congressional nomination for the academy. Flew back to Pennsylvania for the interview and was successfully awarded that, and then was got an appointment to the academy, but I did not know being enlisted I would have to go to the prep school, and that would make me go 5 years. I already had 3 years of college at that point.
okay,
So I then applied to ROTC at Wilkes University, and its 2 year program was accepted, and I came back to
wow,
Wilkes.
okay,
So I was walking around Wilkes campus, and um, one of the coaches from Bloomsburg is now the head coach at Wilkes, and he said, "Hey, are you coming out for football?" I said, "Oh no, yeah,
not doing that
no,
again.
not the." Well, I did, and it was great.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I became a Wilkes Colonel, so that was wonderful. A wonderful 2 years there. Luckily, uh, the enlisted time helped me recage, and
Okay,
I graduated with a much higher GPA,
excellent.
so somewhere between like 3.5 and 4.0. So that was like, as I said, that was a great uh, um, kind of hurdle in my life to help
Sure.
go down the path of achieving my objective.
And then after Wilkes, what happened?
Yeah, so again, a big disappointment. I start flying airplanes when I was 16 years old, and I would use money from cooking or dishwashing at a local restaurant. I'd fly like once a month because it's so expensive.
Oh, yeah.
But while I was enlisted, I was able to get my private pilot license,
Wow.
and I just thought that would really help. And unfortunately, due to the Desert Storm wind down, the pilot slots at the Air Force Academy RTC level were the lowest since in decades.
The lowest
So
openings?
yeah, the
Okay.
lowest slots that could be achieved. So I did not get a pilot slot. That was really really hard. That was disappointing because again, I kind of felt failed.
Where did you do all your flight time? Locally?
Yeah, so different places. Some of it in North Dakota when I was there,
Okay.
and in Danville and Bloomsburg.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was awarded a navigator slot, which which was still a win.
So what is I'm not sure what that means. What does that mean?
Yeah, so pilot navigator. So navigator means you need a navigator to find out where you're going,
Okay.
or work complicated systems in the airplane. So the navs do a lot of mission planning, do a lot of systems on board, and augment the pilots for the mission.
Okay.
It's a very critical mission in multiple airplanes, but there was only one navigator position that was in an airplane that went upside down, pointy. That was in the F-15E, the back seat, the WISO, weapons system officer.
Okay.
So that put a lot of pressure on myself to, with a very high number of highly qualified aviators in my class, with only one airplane I was going for. So I was a distinguished graduate out of navigator school, and I was a distinguished graduate in advanced school, and I was able, after 2 years, to get that F-15E
So you went
slot.
for the hardest slot.
Yeah, I did. I did. Put a lot of pressure on myself.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Now, putting pressure on yourself, is that something that you tend to do a lot even now? Is that like a pattern you've always had?
Yeah, I thrive on it. I think it's healthy. Yeah, is stress and pressure, and you just buckle down and I'm first to say it. I wasn't always the I don't have a photographic memory or I wasn't always incredibly talented academically, but I worked hard and I outworked most of my peers.
Okay.
So it was just late nights and lots of note cards and just buckling down and getting it done.
Since Bloomsburg, failure's not an option.
Uh, Chelsea, that's what it is. It's not an
Yeah.
option, and that's one of the things I look back on is I will not fail again. Even though there was that stumble of not getting the pilot slot right out of the gates, it's like okay, let's go, let's tighten the belt, let's get on board.
Find the back road.
Yeah, so I went to F-15E training in North Carolina. That was 9 months. That was difficult, very.
And
Um,
you're sitting in the back seat of a plane that
yeah,
goes upside
yeah,
down.
yep. The backseater, which traditionally people know as the goose
Okay.
in Top Gun in the F-14. So uh, the mission of the Wizzo is exactly as described: weapons system officer. We were the expert in all the weapon systems. We always say the pilots row the boat and the Wizzo shoot the ducks. So weapons are running all the communication, all of the sensors, and getting the targeting
Okay.
cued in. So went to Alaska, and absolutely that was a dream of mine being an outdoorsman. So
Yeah.
loved it up there.
Did you get to fish up there?
Oh, salmon fishing all the time. Yeah, we used to
Did you have
cut.
to compete with grizzly bears?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You just don't want to get between them and the fish.
Oh,
Obviously,
man.
I know. Yeah, but the moose are actually more dangerous than you think.
Oh, you know what? I've heard this before.
Yeah,
And they'll just walk right into traffic.
they will. They will. Yeah, I was trying to get to my. It was a snowy night. I was trying to get to my condo, and the road was closed, and a gentleman in a Mercedes on a snowy road hit a moose, and the moose came down and killed him. It's
Wow.
2,000 plus pounds, right
Just
into the
crushed
car,
them.
crushed the car. Yeah. So, but I had a wonderful time up there, and I did the best I could do at the job I was offered, and I was recognized to the point where my commander put me in for active duty pilot training board. Now I had to compete for the entire Air Force. So everybody that never had a pilot slot, now I'm competing at that level. And, glory be to God and some hard work, I was awarded a pilot slot.
And then now you have to learn how to fly these planes, even though you knew how to fly what, like a little Piper or Cessna?
Yep. So now I'm going back to school, to pilot school, which I've never done before, and that's a year. There were 32 students in my class. On graduation night, we had 3 that got fighters.
Wow.
So that was another very a very intense 12 months. A lot of stress put on myself because I did not want to fail. And it all goes back to that first failure.
Did you have a family or like a personal life at this
Not at the
time?
time.
Okay.
Not at the time. I had a very
It
supportive.
was boom.
Yeah,
We are laser focused on this
get
goal.
it done. Yeah. Yep, dig in and get her done. So 12 months there, then you're not done because after pilot training, if you get selected to fighters, you go to fighter fundamentals, and there's about a 30% washout in that. So we
30% of people who go
failure
don't make it out.
who actually got a fighter awarded but don't make it through the fighter fundamentals course.
Okay.
You make it through that, then you go to your F-16, your F-15, your B-1, and then you go through training again. So now I'm starting all over in the front seat. So what was so cool about that was, um, you do all your academics, you do your simulator training. The first time I got in F-15, because I was in the back seat, now I'm sitting in the front seat, and the instructor's like, "Are you going to start the plane?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah," I'm kind of just in awe that I'm sitting here because it's kind of cool.
Yeah. It's something you worked really hard for.
Yeah, it took me 3 years to move 3 feet.
Yeah.
3 feet ahead. So yeah, going down, lighting the afterburners and going down the runway and just feeling that accelerate rush, was just so cool.
How fast did these
Yeah.
planes go?
Oh gosh.
Like faster than anything I've probably experienced at an amusement park, right?
I mean, take off. You're accelerating, 300, 400, 500, 550 knots. You'll do on low level missions, you'll do 10, 11, 12 miles a minute across the ground.
Wow.
Mach 1.1, Mach 1.2.
See, you're also speaking a language I don't speak.
Yeah, Mach
But
is a speed of sound.
okay.
Yeah, so speed of sound, breaking the sound barrier.
So that's how fast you're moving.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Does that have any effect on your organs, on your body, on your brain, on your skull?
Well, and that's one of the things about the training is that I could teach most people how to fly an airplane. What I can't teach them how to do is employ it as a combat system at night, bad weather, enemy terrain, where you're moving, where you've got lots of radios going on, lots of assets, lots of other aircraft around you, and your main goal. I'm sure you saw Top Gun 2. It's an
Yeah.
incredible movie. Your main goal is getting to that target.
Mhm.
Nothing else matters. That
Mhm.
is that you if you do not reach a target, you fail. So that's the hard part is where we lose aviators throughout the training is not being able to employ it as a weapons system officer. So when you're like dogfighting, you're taking that aircraft in a dynamic, um, you're flying 450 miles an hour, and now you're laying on its side and pulling 9 Gs, 9 times your body weight. And then you're going upside down over the ocean. You're going up, down, left, right, all over. You're fighting a target. So you take that, and then your next phases are now you fight your way into a target, low altitude with high terrain mountains on night vision
That's
goggles.
terrifying.
So yeah, so but it takes training,
Yeah.
and this is what saves the weapons system officer that was recently down in Iran. Training, his training through Siri, survival, evasion, resistance, and escape.
So the person that had to be rescued from, like, the crevice in the mountain, he
Hmm.
was the person sitting in the back seat?
Yes, he was the Wizzo. The pilot was
Okay.
picked up. They reports have it that they ended up 40 miles from each other due to the winds.
Wow, and that's after, so after you eject, then you have a parachute and you get down, or tell me.
Yeah, extreme conditions happening at ejection. Obviously, those guys were hit, so probably a lot of bad things are happening. Fire, explosions, bells and whistles, lights. They decide to eject. The ejection is about 20 Gs out. 20 Gs, instant force. You pull the handles and you're out. And next thing you know, you're in a chute. Or if you're high altitude, you may fall for minutes till your chute opens because you don't want to shoot to open at 40,000 feet. You'll freeze to death. So
Oh my
so your
gosh.
chute's programmed to open off a radar altimeter. So
Really?
they
So
teach
that's a computer system.
yeah, they teach you if you eject at 40, 50,000 feet, you may fall for 15, 20 minutes in your ejection seat and falling to earth before your chute's gonna open. Uh
15 minutes?
yeah, I'm just using I'm not
Okay.
sure what the exact, but it's a long
It
time.
feels like
Yeah, it
forever,
would
I'm
be,
sure.
yeah. So right. And there have been aviators that have been died because they have pulled their chute off before they've hit the ground because the objective is to release your chute before you hit the ground or water. So when you hit, the wind doesn't take you and cause bodily damage.
Oh man. So just the fact that these two survived the ejection
Yeah.
is a huge accomplishment in itself.
Oh, yeah, it's incredible to survive the ejection. Now you're behind enemy lines in Iran where there's no ground friendlies as of yet, and you basically get all your gear and you get away from the crash site, which they
Right.
did, which he did.
So they're running,
He
they're
and
hiding, they're
according
crawling, or
yeah, according he had a broken ankle, maybe some injuries. So now you got to first off you got to do first aid,
yeah.
assess yourself, get what's important to you, and get going. That goes into the Siri. Survive. Number one, survive. We just survived the ejection. Now we're gonna survive. We're gonna go ahead and do some buddy care. Make sure we're not bleeding out. Put a tourniquet on, whatever, and get going.
On yourself
Now you're
because you're
gonna
not together.
no. Now you're gonna evade. Now you're gonna evade, and that was part of the training was to evade enemy. Um, and then the end game of the training was resist. So like in training, we were captured and sent to a prison camp. We had experienced interrogations, all of that. And then escape would be always looking for an escape plan. But luckily, they never got. Thank God they never got to the capture.
Yeah.
It was all
But
hands on
you are
deck.
trained on how to do that. You were trained on how to do that.
Yes, yeah, yep. And sorry we went backwards that, but I think it was important to point that out.
No, yeah, totally.
That training saved those airmen's lives. So yeah, so the training, like you said, it's a building block process. A lot of people ask the same things. How can you fly an airplane at 600 miles an hour, 300 feet above the ground in night in a high threat environment? We just don't start. You just don't start there. It's training,
Right.
and you got to get comfortable doing it.
Now, do you start in the simulators just to make sure you don't get motion sickness or?
So that will already have been worked out when you go through pilot training.
Okay. So
So
we know you're not squeamish or
yeah,
queasy
those
when
that
you
got
get to this
motion
point.
sickness and pilot training, they work with them. They work with them up to up till they can't. Up till they be like, hey, we got to find you another career. Like we can't have you yakking in the airplane all the time.
Yeah.
And not all airplanes go upside down either. You know,
Right.
your AMC, your cargo airplane, C5, C-130, straight and level.
So now you're in the front seat
Yeah.
and you're still in training. You
Yep.
haven't done any missions yet. Or did you do any missions as a Wizzo?
Nope, nope. So training is again, it's very intense. Get through training, all the phases, about 9 months, and now I end up at my first duty assignment in England.
Okay.
And throughout that time, I met who now is my wife of 21 years. While I was in training, we met in DC at a St. Patrick's party. So we kept in touch, and so I was in England, and it was a kind of cool place to live. Traveled a lot.
It's
Um,
so easy to travel from England.
yeah, I was like the travel coordinator. So like I would
What country are you going to today?
on a 3-day weekend or 4-day
Yeah.
weekend, I'd be like go on Ryanair, EasyJet,
Yeah.
and be like, hey, we're going to Ljubljana. Everybody's like, where's that? I'm like, I think it's in Latvia.
It's a
Okay.
cheap flight. We're going.
Yeah, it's like $100. I'll
Yeah.
work the hotels. Let's go. So yeah, we went to 32 countries, me and my buddies.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but I knew a deployment was coming up to support Iraq,
Okay.
and
What year was
it
this?
was 2004.
Okay.
So,
I met somebody yesterday who is like a taekwondo master, and he was training people in 2004 overseas.
he was
Self-defense.
Oh, self defense.
Yeah.
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 So that was part of Siri training.
Okay.
We would learn all that self defense. Yeah.
Okay.
Wish I would have known more of it because it's a great.
Really?
Well, it's just I think in life it's a great thing to have. Jiu-jitsu, taekwondo.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for just self defense. Um, so I had done the 60th anniversary of D-Day flyby, which was incredible. We were part of a four-ship to President Bush was there, and we were supposed to hit Omaha Beach the time the first landing craft hit. Which was maybe 7:16, 7 something in the morning. That was our time.
To just fly over it?
Yeah, over all the
In
world leaders,
France.
do a missing man formation.
Okay.
So it was so cool. It was so eerie because we're out over the North Sea and the fog was pushing us down. We were down to about 100 feet, and then we went inbound, and it was just that eerie feeling of the landing craft hitting the shores. And I was kind of just mesmerized by looking at it. And then we did the pull up over the world leaders, and my mom actually through the Republican Herald got an article and sent it to President Bush and had it signed, which was
Oh,
cool.
nice.
Yeah, so
Gotta love the skook.
yeah, my wife Patty at the time, or no, not my wife yet, but Patty, who I was dating at the time, I had her come over, and we went on a trip, and I took her to Omaha Beach,
Okay.
and that's where I proposed to her.
Okay.
Right where I did the flyby.
Wow.
So we quickly got married because I knew I was deploying.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of cool to have her out there the night of deployment on the flight line, watching us blast off. All the power of the afterburners. She's standing right there, and then we took off, and we're on our way to Qatar
Okay.
to support OIF, which quickly turned into the Battle of Fallujah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was intense. The Battle of Fallujah when the Marines went in. So we provided close air support for that.
So that means there's boots on the ground moving in, and
Oh yeah,
you
there
provide
always
air
would.
support.
Yep. Post air support for the troops on the ground.
And that was your first mission?
That was my first combat. Yeah,
Okay.
that's my first combat, and then I went back. A year later, our squadron went back. It was a little less hyped at that point. There's still a lot of combat operations going on, but then we went back, and that was the end of my tour in England.
Okay.
So I knew I really loved my time with the Navy when I went through nav school. I forgot to say that, but I went through navigator training in Pensacola, Florida,
Okay.
a joint training. So I really enjoyed the Navy time. So I actually applied to a Navy exchange, and I got selected for that. And that's where I went to learn how to fly the F-18 Hornet, which got me to Fallon Naval Air Station to support the Air Wing and then a Top Gun school there as a Red Air pilot.
Okay. So you are a Top Gun pilot.
No,
No.
no. So
Top Gun is Navy though.
yeah. So Top Gun is Navy, and
Because there's Blue Angels, there's Top,
yeah.
it's hard to,
So
unless you know, you don't know.
nobody knows, right?
Yeah.
So the Air Force has what's called the Weapons School, and it's called the Air Force Weapons School. They call it WIC, Weapons Instructor Course. That's a 6-month course, and both Top Gun and the Weapons School came about after Vietnam. The lessons learned in Vietnam.
Okay.
So the Air Force has their side, the Navy has their weapons school, which is famed Top Gun. So my role was I was a Red Air instructor pilot supporting that mission, supporting the Top Gun school.
Okay.
And
So they're training the Top Gun pilots and you come in
I was
and
the
you
bad
are
guy.
the bad guy.
Yeah, and we also supported the Air Wing, which the Air Wing, the whole carrier Air Wing would come to us before deployment or workup, and for a month, and we would give those scenarios, war games.
Okay.
Yes,
And where do you do this?
Fallon Naval Air Station. So it used to be at Miramar, but
Okay.
Fallon, Nevada.
Okay.
And that's where I had my first daughter born out there. So we call her the post-Iraq baby.
Okay.
Yep. So and now she's currently at Pentech.
Okay.
So she's 19. So yeah, did that, and that was incredible. I loved every minute of that assignment, getting to fly a different airplane, having a child, and next going back to the F-15. So I
Okay.
got to go back through a quick qual course to get requalled in that, and go back to Seymour Johnson, North Carolina for my qualification, and I'm on my way to Idaho, to Mountain Home.
Okay.
And there I had applied to do a special duty as an Air Force One advance agent. And so I came back to the Pentagon, the White House for about a week and interviewed and then was selected. So my job was to go out ahead of POTUS, FLOTUS, VPOTUS, and do all the behind the scenes work for the trips.
As air support or on the ground?
On the ground.
Okay.
So yeah, we were a
Like
suit.
in the Foreign Service almost? Or?
Everybody thought we were Secret Service agents. We were a
Yeah.
suit with the pin and had the Yankee white, and no, it was our job. We had a checklist of over 700 items, and our job was to make sure we never got on CNN a moment. Something happened to the trip.
Right.
So we worked directly with
Embassies?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
White House staff, embassies, Secret Service was hand in hand all the time. We were usually on the same floor as Secret Service. We took care of the crew when we're on the ground. I'd go up on Air Force One, hang out, sit in the president's office, have a Diet Coke. It was kind of cool.
Which president did you work for?
For Obama.
Okay.
Yeah. And I actually got my mom and stepdad got to do an Air Force One trip. Got to meet President Obama and Michelle.
Okay.
And this was in New York City, and it's during the re-election campaign, and he was in there for a campaign stop, and it was so cool. I just got to do the trip to Wall Street on the rehearsal because they were going to take from JFK, they were going to take the president to Wall Street,
Okay.
and I got to fly on the helicopters, land on the Wall Street
Okay.
pad. So that was really neat. But
Marine One or the Osprey?
no, I was in the Chinook.
Okay.
Yeah, but they were all there. So we did that, and then my mom and stepdad come up for the tour, and they're in the rope line, and we get the president off, and I'm standing between the rope line and the limo, the president's limo, and I see my mom over there grabbing President Obama and talking his ear off, and he's looking out at me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what are you saying? Oh no, don't say anything bad.
Yeah,
So
I need to keep my job.
he comes by me, and he elbows me. So that was a great assignment. Just a really cool assignment. Flying all over the world, went to crazy
Yeah.
countries. A lot of people don't know this, but like when you take Air Force One to foreign countries, you got to take all your assets with you. So all the limo, all the motorcades,
Right.
helicopters get loaded
All
up,
the cars.
all the movement.
Yeah.
A lot of times you have to take your own fuel because you don't trust the sources where you're getting fuel.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a big movement. So that was
Oh.
really neat.
That's a lot of planning.
Yeah.
I'm like, I go back and forth to my house maybe twice on a trip. Oh, got to the light down the end of the road. I have to turn around and go back. There's no coming back.
No, there's
You got to
not.
bring everything
No,
with you.
there's not. There's absolutely. So yeah, it's a very dynamic job. We worked hand in hand with Marine One too, especially if there's a lift to take the president somewhere.
Sure. Like when he came, he was in Mount Airy. They
Yes,
flew to Avoca and then took Marine One to Mount Pocono.
that's correct.
Yep.
That's correct. Yep. So that was just a honor to serve the office of the president, and just a great rewarding career. Uh, Also, while I was doing that, I was still an active duty pilot, so I would get picked for these trips, so back
Okay.
and forth. So I
So
was
in
still,
between this, you're still going out and flying
yeah,
F
15s.
15s.
Yeah,
Okay.
so uh, we had a big deployment coming up in 2011 during the surge, and that was a heavy hitter. I was deployed for 214 days in that one. Flew. I think
That's
I flew.
almost a year.
Yeah.
240,
Well,
little less. I thought in my head I had 254, but
yeah.
215 you said.
We just had the birth of our twins. They were in the NICU, so deployed right after
I'm a
them.
twin.
You are,
Yeah.
yeah, twinsies.
Yeah.
Woo.
I have a
Yeah.
twin brother.
Oh, you do.
But we were 6 weeks early.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're in the NICU.
I don't think we were in the
Okay.
NICU,
Okay.
but we were tiny. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I had my daughter Trinity. She I can remember her holding both hands. Just this little thing. I can't remember how many pounds, but it's
Yeah. I was 4, my brother was 5.
4 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to get the stats on them and report back to you. It's tiny.
How many minutes are between them?
I think
Do you
about
know?
20.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, about 20.
Because sometimes you meet twins, you're like, oh, I'm 1 minute older. But 20, that's a good gap.
Yeah, it was.
I'm 4 minutes older.
Okay. Maybe I'm not right about that, but it seems about
No,
right.
that's fine.
It might be.
I mean, it sounds like it's possible. I don't think
Yeah.
that's impossible. I know that there are some twins who are born over midnight and they have 2 different birthdays.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You were fraternal?
Yeah.
Not, okay.
Yep. We get that question a lot. I'm like, oh, I have a twin brother. Oh, are you guys identical? No.
Well, as my son, he's 6 foot, blonde hair, curly blue eyes, and my daughter, she's like 5'1", 5'2", dark skinned, dark hair like me, green
Yeah.
eyes, so they don't look nothing alike.
Oh, yeah. My brother looks more like my older sister
Okay.
than me. But that's fraternal twins for you.
That's cool.
Yeah. So what are their names?
James and Trinity.
Okay.
And they're in Benton High School right now.
Okay.
Benton, yeah. So they're actively in track right now, so it's been fun. But yeah, so I get spun up to go on this deployment to Afghanistan,
Yeah.
support Afghanistan, and
And your twins are born. So you've got
yeah,
3 children at home now.
3 children.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So that was a very dynamic deployment. I flew 102 missions on that, and I dropped live ordnance on over 80 of those missions. So
So what does that mean in layman's terms?
So during the surge in 2011, we inserted tens of thousands of more ground forces to clear a lot of areas out, which causes a lot more engagements with the enemy. We call
Okay.
troops in contact, which required a lot more close air support assets. There were there were many times where we didn't have enough airborne assets to support everything that was going on the ground. So I'll just give you a quick example of a mission. Like you do a kind of standard brief, and do all your required items in a brief, and then you launch and you take off, and you don't have a pre-planned sort of targets you're going to hit. You go out and you kind of loiter, you hang out, and during that time, you may get called 1, 3, 4, 5 times, floating all over Afghanistan, for situations, whether it's troops in contact with the enemy, whether it's an IED, whether it's clearing a house, whether it's clearing a mountain. So you're having to drag tanker assets because we get our fuel airborne.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of coordination to get your tankers where you're going and support. And sometimes you're checking in, and the first thing you hear when you're checking in is heavy gunfire. So you hear machine gun fire, guys and gals under a huge amount of stress. They're taking fire, they're taking casualties, and you're trying to build a picture. You're trying to build a picture of what they want and what you can offer. Now, what you can offer is
As a Wizzo or the pilot?
both. You're working together.
Okay.
What you can offer is very dependent on what's going on the ground, where the friendlies are at, where the civilians are at, what the infrastructure's like. So you have to make that decision, because once you hit that red button and a bomb comes off, you can't get it back. There is the risk of killing friendlies, a frat, or there's a risk of killing civilians. So there's a lot of decisions being made in that short amount of time, and it's extremely stressful. And that went on for me for 202 days, 212 days, whatever it was. And flying, usually flying every other day, 102 missions, flying every other day. And on the days I wasn't flying, I was sitting 12 hours duty shift, sitting behind a desk, kind of working the computers for the big picture.
Okay. So kind of planning out navigations for
Yeah,
other
so
people, or
and,
testing out positive scenarios.
so briefing the pilots on the way out and making sure, coordinating maintenance, making sure weapons loadouts, fuel, tankers, and then you have a bunch of screens behind you. You're coordinating with everybody in the theater, in the war theater,
Okay.
whether it be assets, whether it be JTACs you're going to talk to, special ops. So
And this is 2011.
yeah, so it was extremely an intense combat deployment. Um, so by the end of it, I was in a leadership role, and by the end of it, you don't want to show your young guys and gals that you're kind of starting to get behind the power curve a little bit. But I was hurting, kind of tighten up the bootstraps and keep going though, because the guys and the gals need us out there.
Yeah.
They needed us bad. So we were many times we were the thing between them dying and them not, getting to the enemy first. So yeah, we carried a loadout of 2,500 pound JDAMs on my 40th birthday. I didn't plan this. I just wanted to fly on my birthday, but convoy got attacked south of Kandahar, and they were getting hit from both sides. So me and my wingman, we dropped wingman number 2 jet.
Yeah.
We dropped all our ordnance, and I found myself strafing, shooting the gun at night, dangerous, because you're diving low to the ground and you're firing 100 rounds and you're pulling 5-6 Gs, recovering only 200-300 feet above the ground, back up in the mountains and back down because that's all we left. So that was my 40th birthday. I came back and I I landed and my legs were shaking. They were almost hit. My knees were all hitting each other. I was soaked. It was a very intense time.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of missions like that.
Sure. High stakes.
High
Failure's
threat.
not an option.
No, no, and
Just
also the
flying
danger.
into danger.
Also the danger to you, to the crew, to
Yeah.
you and your backseater.
And so, I mean, what kind of relationship do you have with that person?
Tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, tight. You have to. It's it's one thing, and that's one thing I'll talk about Camp Freedom. Uh, uh, when you when you're in roles like that, or you're in combat on the ground, as I speak to ground troops, you're relying on each other for survival. Your skills, your knowledge, your confidence, and your decision making. Yeah, that's all you have is each other.
Yeah.
So that's why we talk about that downed aircraft in Iran. They got separated. That stinks. They didn't have each other.
Yeah. But they rely on their training.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, when you were watching that stuff on the news, were you like, oh,
Oh, my wife and I were just like, oh gosh,
and captivated by it?
well, what a difference, what a different outcome could have happened if they would have got captured, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been horrible. We can't imagine what would have happened to them. They would have been used, obviously, as a bargaining chip and a propaganda tool,
Sure.
and it'd be very powerful. As we saw in Vietnam, you start putting those videos and out there on TV. It gets you lose public support really quick.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so got back from that, and like I said, it was wonderful. Kind of take some time and
So 212 days now of high stakes, high danger, high threat.
yeah,
You
yeah.
come home and your body's shaking. You're covered in sweat.
Yeah, one of my last missions on that was it was a high stakes mission that it was everything could have went wrong on it, and ultimately it was considered one of the biggest successes during the war period. But me and my wingman, we took out the number 2 most wanted Al Qaeda commander and 5 of his buddies in the top 25 list.
Wow.
That was a really, really difficult mission. I could
And
do a
just
whole. I
you
could do.
two, or was there?
It was me, my backseater,
Okay.
and I pulled another jet in that was coming home from a different mission because they had a loadout that I needed, while my wingman was on a tanker. But that would be a whole nother podcast. That was a high stakes, extremely stressful mission. It was a scramble, no time to brief, no time to talk on the Pakistan border.
So you just kind of knew. I mean, how much time did you have before you knew what your target was?
None, none. We didn't
They
we.
just gave you a
No,
location, or?
we. So when we take off, we usually have a planned area, like I said, we go to. While the crew chiefs were arming the jet, pulling the pins on all the weapons, we were told to go to secure transmission, and we were given a set of coordinates. They said, "Get there as fast as you can. Don't take gas." So usually in Bagram, it's such a high altitude that we had to take off reduced fuel because of our weapons loadout and our fuel. We would never get off the ground because you're climbing out a train that's 12, 15, 14, 16,000 feet, and so we didn't take gas. We had to go right to the area trying to figure out what was going on. So now we have no gas. We're trying to get tankers. We're getting seriously low. I mean, there's nowhere to go when you don't have gas.
Yeah,
There's nowhere else to land.
right,
So you're ejecting.
right.
So all that, and then making contact with the assets that were eyeing this target. It was dynamic. Things were happening fast. So it was that stress makes things harder.
Yeah.
So when I did go to the tanker to get gas, because I pulled a tanker over and I just wanted to get a little bit so I could execute the mission, I was shaking so bad. And I'm like, I was pretty good at tanking on because air refueling is really difficult.
Yeah,
You pull up behind an airplane and you
sure.
you got you got the probe that comes in
On
and
your everything's flying
at
forward,
night
right?
everything's going for you. You're turning, weather. It's a skill,
Yeah.
and I couldn't do it that night. I was I I was nervous. I was stressed. It was I wanted to give them what they needed, and things were just a lot was happening.
Did you have some idea, like, "Oh, they want me there this quickly, this must be important."
Yeah, yeah,
So you knew,
yeah,
like, "Uh-oh, we got a big player here."
yeah. Usually that's what it is. Like some command and control kind of uh, target something on the big fish list. But it's just I finally was able to get a little bit of gas after shaking and not being able to get hooked up. But then we went back and it was really difficult trying to execute that mission, but we were successful getting our ordnance down, and we didn't find out for a few days till the special ops teams went in what it really was.
Wow.
Yeah, so that kind of ended my deployment.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
So that was your last mission?
Close to the end.
Okay.
Yeah, so return home from that deployment, and um, next, I over in Afghanistan on my second mission. Um, I was close to the Pakistan border, and I had a really young. We had a young squadron. We had a young wingman, number two, behind me, and we were trying to break contact with the enemy because there were some assets engaged on the ground. And terrain was extreme, and we're diving down these valleys to try and break contact because what you do is you dive down, you uh, try to let them know you're there, which hopefully will stop the fighting. And I was looking back at my wingman, and I felt an extreme pain in my neck. So when I got back from that mission, um, I had no strength in my arm, and I couldn't lift my arm. So I went to Bagram didn't have a lot of they had a lot of medical assets for field care, but nothing to get like get an MRI or anything. So it was deemed that I probably had a severe rupture in my neck, my disc.
Okay.
I didn't want to leave the fight. There's no way I could. So I took a lot of Motrin, a lot of hot showers, just trying to keep in the game. A lot of times my combat vest, which was with the radios, your weapon, some food, some water, is so heavy. I had my backseater dress me because I couldn't lift my arm up. I could never. I had no strength to lift my arm above my head. So I just pushed through in a lot of pain. A lot of times I was flying my left hand, even though I'm right-handed, and just got through that deployment. When I got home, I ended up going on as I spoke earlier, on an Air Force One mission to Turkey, And that was a couple weeks. When I came back, start to feel a little better because I was no longer wearing the heavy helmet. All
Right.
the combats, I start to get a little bit more feeling back in my hand. My hand was extremely numb, and I we we start flying again after a couple weeks off. We start flying fighting missions again, F-15s fighting IG, and I came down from that mission and I was almost in tears. And I went to the flight doc and he's like, you got to go. We got to get you MRI." So I did, and that was the last time I flew a fighter. What had happened was I severely ruptured a disc in my neck, and it caused spinal cord damage.
Okay.
So yeah, so
From that from that big mission, that your
from
last mission, or
no, 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 that was from my second mission. I went 6 more months with that pain
okay.
and that kind of disability of not having my full strength in my arm or my hand. So I was disqualified from flying fighters because ejection seat. I couldn't. So I had gotten surgery in my neck. Um, I was supposed to get at Stanford University. I was still pretty young at the time, 40, and they were going to do an artificial disc. They said I was a great candidate, but the military denied me, and I had to go to an Air Force base. The VA did it, and they fused my neck and put a metal clip in there that broke.
Wow.
So I could not get my ejection qual back. They the board said that I couldn't go back to ejection. It was too dangerous. And I didn't want to go back in for revision surgery. So I finished my Air Force career flying a special ops. It's called the MC-12 Liberty, and deployed to Kandahar.
Okay.
So that was an incredible mission too. That was ISR, information, surveillance, and reconnaissance. So we we work directly with triple letter agencies and and special ops. The motto of that mission was to find, fix, and finish. Find what we're looking for, get a fix on it, and then finish it, meaning target it.
Okay.
So we went after the heavy players,
Wow.
and then I decided at that point, since I couldn't go back to flying fighters, that I was just going to finish on that and apply to the airlines.
Okay.
And I mean, that was 5 deployments. And now I have 3 kids and a wife, and the airlines just start hiring again. So I applied to all of them, and I got a call from JetBlue. So I returned from that deployment in October of 2014. Quickly get my family together, and I get on the road, get back to Pennsylvania, and my wife was staying with her parents in Delaware. My father-in-law is a retired Air Force Chief Master Sergeant in Dover, so get back there to December 23rd, and next I find myself I'm in JetBlue training on January 6th. So I'd really no time to wind down other than to drive across the country from that deployment
Yeah.
because it was still high threat, weapons, kinetic.
Sure.
When you're at Kandahar, Bagram, we were getting rocketed every day. So one time on the way to a staff meeting, because I was in a leadership role there, RPG hit so many meters off my flank, and it caused a lot of hearing damage. My ears don't stop ringing.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, yeah. So I was in a ditch when it hit. So the frag went over us.
Okay.
Um, so I'm sitting a few weeks later. I'm sitting in JetBlue training in Florida with mostly civilian pilots and a
Yeah.
couple of military, and I'm just back from combat, and it's just I couldn't sleep. I just couldn't unwind. I call it. I tell people it's like the movie American Sniper. Chris Kyle.
Yeah.
He's remember that movie where he's
Mhm.
at the barbecue, and like he's thinking about what was going on overseas.
Yeah.
It's hard to shut it off.
Sure.
And that's
Especially you had no time to decompress.
no, we had Christmas and I left. Yeah, I was in class on January 6th.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was difficult. I wasn't sleeping, and my my kind of principles of work hard, work hard. You know, I was studying a lot. I was in the books. It was a whole new environment for me, and I was just starting to fade really fast and struggle. Just push through. I mean, many nights no sleep, going to class, going to simulator, and that was the first time I ever failed something. My aviation career. Huh. In my whole military career, I never failed a check ride, but I had failed a check ride. Uh, my first one. Just and it wasn't that I didn't know the knowledge. It was just I was just beat down, and I had been so amped up that I went there and I just couldn't function.
Yeah.
They recognized that and they're like, "Hey, take a day, take it, or
Yeah.
do you want to come back tomorrow?" I'm like, "I want to come back tomorrow. I want to come back tomorrow." I went back and aced it, so it was no big deal, Hmm. but I was vulnerable there,
Yeah.
and so then I get out to a real airplane in JFK, flying flying a Airbus A321, going to Caribbean a lot. I'm like, "Wow, this is kinda cool." You know, I get to read newspapers and hunting books and get to drink coffee and get to go to these nice resorts and, hang out and they take care of you. I'm like, "This is a pretty good lifestyle." So I kinda adapted that and been like, "Alright." After, the weeks lead into months, the months lead into year to the not years, but the weeks lead into the months and start a that whole Afghanistan, that whole 23 years starts to still a big part of my life, but starts to now I got the next chapter
Mhm.
in life. And it's actually now I can start doing some things I want to do and start spending time with my family. So um I had applied at the time to American when I was getting out of the military because of Philadelphia
Yeah.
base. So I got the call for American and I went to an interview and they hired me. So I swapped colors, then went to American training.
Okay.
And that I went to American in 2016. We were living in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And uh, around 2019, the summer, I know I'm getting older, but I started to get really, really bad joint pain, like really bad, severe, severe numbness in my hands. My fingers weren't working. My weird things, my jaw. I thought I was chewing gum too hard. On these trips, I couldn't sleep because it's just severe knee, shoulder, hip, everything. I'm like, gosh. So I kept going to the doctor, and they swore I had Lyme's disease, and that was the thoughts. So finally kept testing and kept testing negative for Lyme's, and they're like, sometimes just it shows up all say whatever. Then COVID happened, and so uh, uh, going back here, November 2019, I was coming into Philadelphia, and I was the first officer, and the pilot was flying, and the pilot tells you to actuate the flaps to come down.
Yeah.
And I went to do that, and I couldn't. My hand wouldn't function. I couldn't do it, so I had to have him do it. So we get down. He's like, "Dude, what's up?" I'm like, "I don't know. Like my hand doesn't work. I couldn't." He's like, "You gotta stop flying until you figure this out." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay." So that was the last time I flew.
Really?
Yeah, today. So when COVID happened, I got diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis,
Okay.
an aggressive form of it. It had already done some damage. So
Did that have anything to do with your neck injury?
no, that was all spinal.
Okay.
So rheumatoid arthritis, a lot of people don't know about it. It's autoimmune disease. It attacks your soft tissue,
Mhm.
attacks your organs, attacks everything. So um, it had. I was wondering why I had so much pain in my foot when I was walking through the airport. It had destroyed a bone and some joints in my foot. And to get my hands functioning again, I had to go in for surgery on both
Okay.
my wrist. So I had thought I'd be back to flying pretty quick, but that uh, the disease was the kind of decider of what was going to happen, and it's just I wasn't successful. So
So then no flying.
yeah, no flying. So as kind of my story leading up is that uh, failure's not an option, as we talked about.
Yeah.
I've always my Air Force career, I always reached for something better or bigger. I never wanted to be complacent with what I was doing. That's why I did the Air Force One duty and the F-18, and um, so I was like, well, if I'm not flying, I gotta work. I gotta be a contributing member of society. Like, I have to do something. Like, so I started applying, just firing out my resume, kind of tighten it up a little bit. And I would get on Indeed and Monster and all these and fired it out like hundreds of places. I gotten 2 master's degrees throughout my military career, and um, I thought with my military leadership and those degrees, I would concentrate on maybe some project manager roles or whatever.
Sure. You could,
Nothing.
yeah, you planning missions.
Nothing.
Wow.
Crickets. Mostly thanks, but no thanks. Electronics, and I'm like, my gosh, like I've never been in this place before. First off, I had a lot of jobs in high school and college, but the military was my first lengthy job in the airlines. I've never been really denied before that, like based off my qualifications. Like this is starting to like make my self worth kind of crumble. Not flying, and then the whole other aspect of that is that um, when I wasn't flying, I lost my salary. So we were living off my military retirement,
Hmm.
which we're living in Lancaster, pretty high tax area. I'm paying a mortgage, paying insurance, paying utilities and bills, and uh, it got pretty bad. I had to start selling stuff. So out the door went my weight equipment, my ATVs, toys. And lastly, a boat. Uh, the worst thing to see leave the driveway was my '67 Camaro. Um, but we had to do what we had to do. It's just I was never in that spot before in my
Yeah.
life, and I was always kind of very responsible. But when you lose a big portion of your income and you're getting $50 a week taxable on short term disability, plus my military retirement, there wasn't much room. So that desperation got more to try and find income, and it just wasn't happening. Like nobody was calling me. So like we actually talked about possibly moving because I knew I was marketable near Air Force bases or DOD, but I have kids in school and just uproot to life again. It was difficult.
Yeah.
So um dealing with the issues that I was dealing with the inflammation in my body, not sleeping, the frustration of not finding a career, follow on career, not knowing what the future was going to be. Uh, that led to, that definitely led to being depressed, and like just for example, like if we're at a social gathering, people will be like, "Hey, so what do you do?" It's kind of embarrassing, like, well, I'm retired military, it's just, what do you do now? Uh, you know, just don't want to tell that whole story.
Right.
I had some really, obviously supportive family. I had some incredible neighbors, supportive, helped me all through that. But the inevitable was happening, and I didn't really realize it. But start to feel the worth and the identity crumble of who am I? What how am I going to provide? How am I going to provide for my family? Like, what are we going to do? So that was very stressful. Which, crazy enough, I mean, during COVID, um, all that shut down, and uh, uh, it led to something I never ever knew before: anxiety, anxious, like this, like that I've never felt. Obviously, there's a difference of anxiety when you're doing combat missions versus that anxiety, the anxiety of the unknown.
Yeah.
Just like I I I I just couldn't sit still. I'm like, I gotta do something. I have to. Um, so that anxiety led to me not wanting to leave the house, not wanting to drive, and I was up here in Benton during archery season, Columbia County, and I was in my tree stand, and I this anxiety kind of took over, this black cloud, and I felt like the whole world was crumbling down on me, and I felt like I was gonna fall out of my stand. I was so scared to like even crawl down. I'm like, something is drastically wrong. Like here I was, years before that, flying these high risk combat missions in a fighter aircraft. I'm like, why can't I figure this out? But um, when it was happening, like I didn't know how to figure it out because I've never been down this path before. So at the time, I joined a group called MVP, Merging Veterans and Players. It's for combat veterans and pro athletes. So they have like a weekly get together online. It's really cool. Like the first 30 minutes was a kickboxing workout, like kind of get, and then in the last hour and a half was just talking.
Over Zoom during the pandemic.
Yeah, during the pandemic,
Okay.
and this was all military veterans and pro athletes. What they found, the founder of that, was that when pro athletes leave the game or military members leave combat, you lose a part of your identity
Mhm.
because, like we talked about, what is that like having your buddy, that cohesive environment, or for the player, their players, and now they get out if they don't have a plan. We see this all the time in sports. A lot of them end up homeless, drugs, alcohol. Mm. Um, so just like veterans, with the past to the suicide pandemic that we have amongst of our veterans. So that was my first time that I actually started to feel like I was part of something again. I look forward to it. And there was a therapist in there that I had a long phone call with, and she deals directly with NFL players. And she's like, guys like you, special ops, fighter pilots, pro athletes are like, you're like a you're like a sports car, and you go in, you're in the showroom, and they put you up on blocks, and you put a brick on the throttle, and you just run it till it breaks, till you burn the engine up. But somebody coming in the showroom looks at that car and they're like, oh, that's a brand new car in the showroom. Wow. But you don't know it's broken inside. I'm like, wow. She's like, I feel you've been running hot, really hot your whole life. You need to ground yourself. And I had a lot of thought about that. I'm like, yeah, it's just been this 20 plus year career of work hard, work hard, work hard, work hard, study, 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 fly, fight, this, and in the airlines. And then it just all stops. So that was my first realization of something. I need to do something. The hardest thing to do, and if I could help anybody throughout this or my entire time on earth, is to make the decision to raise your hand, say you need help. That's the hardest part, especially for type A people. It's not easy. It's not easy asking somebody else because this is something I couldn't figure out. It's not easy asking somebody else to help you. But I didn't know how to deal with it. So I did. I reached out to a it was a Cohen military clinic in Philadelphia, and I got hooked up with a therapist who I start meeting with weekly online because COVID.
Yeah.
And quickly she diagnosed that this was all in my head, and she gave me a bunch of tools to kind of start working through it. One of the things I forgot to tell you about is before I made this decision, I went to my doctor, um, and I go in there all amped up, and it's during COVID, and I just had got COVID, and I had a vaccine, and I wasn't feeling well. My blood pressure was 200 over 110. He's like, "What is going on?" I said, I don't know. Am I gonna die? He's like, no. He's like, but we just can't stay there. We gotta
Yeah.
get you down. So, um, I actually ended up in the emergency room, and got that taken care of. And that was my realization that when you're flying jets and something bad happens, like a fire or an emergency, there's a whole bunch of lights and bells and whistles and stuff talking. And that was my warning. That was my, kind of that was my grounding. Like something's wrong. Like the bells and
Gauges are
whistles.
not green.
No, no, they're red.
Yeah.
And that actually happened over Iraq to me. I had a bad fire over there, and my backseater tried ejecting, but that's a whole nother podcast.
We'll
I was
line
on
them up.
fire.
We'll line them
Yeah, I
up.
was on fire over Baghdad. So, but that's what it was like. I mean, that's how scary it was. Like night, I'm in the weather, red, flashing, burn, 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 burn. You know, I just got flash blinded with the explosion, and all I know was to pull up. That's all I did because I was close to the ground getting ready to drop an ordnance. All I knew was to pull up, and I couldn't see you as night. Come to find out, my backseater was so he thought we had a midair collision. He pulled ejection handles. This was over. This
So
was
he's gone or he's still in there?
no. That's the whole. I'll sum it up. They found out after we landed, and I talked to. We had a conference call to Boeing St. Louis that he didn't pull hard enough. So if it's 34 pounds that you have to pull to initiate that ejection, he stopped
Okay.
and he didn't eject. We did not go. Thank because I would have gone too.
Oh, so if he pulls, you
Yeah.
both go.
So coming back into Baghdad, like I was told to maintain ejection position, have the best landing I could ever have, and touch because they didn't know if the touchdown was going to force us out.
Okay.
When we landed, we sat in the airplane for 2 hours till the fire crew took off the canopy and took out the explosive ejection carts from the seat. So I sat there in ejection position. Okay, so I digress. But that's how I felt at this point. I felt like everything was on fire. So that led to the decision I made to get help to try and help figure this out. Within a few weeks, I had got it figured out. It didn't take long. I'm like, gosh, this is nothing. This is a nothing burger. So that was part of the process of of getting back and you know that whole self worth coming back into the game again. During that time, um, I years before I was on a flight when I was a pilot for American, and it was Vegas. So the jet bridge that comes out was stuck. So I always come out to talk to the passengers, and the jet bridge stuck, and it's like 45 minutes now. And one of the guys talking to me, he's got like this crazy hairdo, and he's telling me, you know, we're talking a while, and he's telling me he's on a TV show, and I'm like, what is that? He's like counting cars, and he's like, I'm Horny Mike. I'm like, who is this? So after that show, after I met him, because he's like, oh, come on out sometime, you know, if you're ever in Vegas, we'll show you the Counts Customs.
Yeah.
And I got interested in the show because I was big, obviously classic car buff anyway, and I started watching it. So some point in this whole time, I remember seeing a car being auctioned for Camp Freedom, the Shelby Mustang, and I didn't know what Camp Freedom was. So when I start to feel better, I started to think that I'm like, I need a retreat. I, I just need a retreat, maybe with some military members. So I start going online, and I was accepted to the first one I was accepted to was the Lone Survivor Foundation. Um, but I decided not to go on that because uh, my anxiety was still a little bit too great to fly somewhere and go to a place, and so I decided to not go on that one. During my search, Camp Freedom come up, and it was outdoors related, which is right up my alley,
Yeah.
and I applied. And you know, a couple months later, Matt calls me directly and told me I was accepted to come to Camp Freedom as a guest, which I still didn't know much about. I was just very honored.
Yeah.
Part of me, though, felt that I was not deserving to do something like that, and I had a lot of reservations because I'm like, God, this isn't for people like me. Like I don't take free stuff, or I don't need anybody give me anything. So, yeah.
But you came anyway.
Well, yes and no. So, leading up to my visit at Camp Freedom, uh, I was almost on my way to back surgery. I had a really bad L5 or S1, the sacral
Yeah.
problem, L5 S1, I guess it is. And I was in a lot of pain. And I was like right at the end stage of if this doesn't work, you're getting surgery. I was going to do physical therapy, all that stuff. So I had called Matt and I said, I don't know if I'd be able to come. This was 2 weeks prior. He said, well, He said, "We're not gonna give up your spot. We want you here, absolutely holding it for you. You know, uh, it's yours." So I wasn't truthful also on that call to him is I had a lot of reservations and a lot of anxiety of the unknowns of it. So there was that part of it too. Up to the point 2 weeks prior, I'm like, I could probably get through this with my back, but I just don't know. I'm going to a unknown people I don't know. My wife's like, if you don't go, you're gonna regret it. Get your stuff packed and get out of the house. So packed up, got in my car and my truck, and that was the first time I've really been away since all this happened,
Yeah.
because it got to a point where I didn't wanna leave the house or I didn't wanna drive anymore with the anxiety stuff going on, and
And were you in Lancaster at this time?
so it was a
Okay.
long drive.
Yeah.
And there were times during that drive, I didn't felt like turning around.
Yeah.
As I got closer, you know, uh, those feelings built up, and I got nervous about what to expect, who am I gonna meet, who are these people, what do they expect of me? Next thing I drive in through this beautiful property, and I'm just like, oh, just the pond and the woods. I'm like, this is just gorgeous here. And I see the cabin, and I pull in and I walk out, and then a young man, Frankie, comes to meet me. He's like, "Oh, your guest." So he just starts the love started right there. I was just like, oh, he's like, "Oh, we're gonna show you this, and we'll show you around, and we'll shoot tonight, and we're gonna have supper." And then I got to meet all the rest of the staff, and immediately those feelings just went away of the fear, of the anxiety, and I was like, "Wow!" And then the other members showed up, and we told who we were, got some stories swapped, found out that one of the members, Marty, he was on the ground in Iraq when I was airborne. So we kind of put that. So that was instant connection,
Yeah.
right there. So it's just I felt right at home right away, and I was like, "What these folks here are not here to evaluate. They're here to make sure that we have an incredible time." And so that first night we had pizza and we sat around and talked and laughed and had a great dinner, great conversation. I'm a night person, so that I smelled some bacon or sausage or so eggs at like four something in the morning. I'm like, oh boy, I wake up so here early. So uh, I didn't sleep much that night, but first day out in the stands with Jamie, it was just so much fun. Like the stands here, the blinds are enclosed. Some are open, but we talked, we laughed, we told stories, and we come back and have just an amazing lunch and go back out and talk, laugh, see the beautiful the beautiful scenery here at Camp Freedom,
Yeah.
and just you could feel the you know the weight kind of coming off the shoulders as the hours and the day went on. It's just like this is where I want to be. This is great, and these people here are just amazing. They've all got amazing stories too.
Sure.
They've all got similar stories, and you can relate with them, and you're not here to be evaluated, or so you're just here to have a good time and relax and kind of flush everything and hunt or fish, grab a fishing pole and go out to the pond. I actually it was Christmas time and the Boy Scouts came and I went out and built bikes with them, which was fun. So the dinners were 5-star, and
How many nights did you stay?
so you get here on a Monday and you depart on Friday.
Okay.
So it's yeah. Um so it's 3 full days of hunting. So you get here Monday afternoon, and then it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then Friday is a departure. So it went really fast. And I kind of didn't want it to end. So like, last morning I'm like, you have some toilets to clean or something or some dishes? Like, is there anything I could do? Because it was everything I loved about being active duty. Like it was the first time I felt connected again after all that stuff happened. So when I was leaving, I get in my truck and I'm driving down the lane, and I'm like, oh, this is emotional. I kind of don't want to leave here. Like I had to pull over, and kind of getting emotional, and I'm like, you know what? I, I I'm gonna see if I can help. I'm gonna see if I can be a part of this mission because this is important to me because I want others to experience, you know, what I experienced. If they had anything in the past, coming here to Camp Freedom and experience the love, the caring, the fun, the laughter, the camaraderie, everything about it. Because as Matt said, and as others said, is there's a lot of folks like me that don't come, that don't show up
Right.
because of those fears or reservations they may have had. And I want people to know to not have that, to not because you'll definitely regret not coming here. I look at my experience at Camp Freedom as I call my my capstone. this was this was like the you know everything that happened during that period of no flying, and then making a decision to reach out to figure out what was wrong, figuring out what was wrong. This was the capstone project. This put me on a vector that changed my life. So it I went back, and I smiles ear to ears. I guess it gave me a renewed sense of purpose.
Sure. And
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and to go home and never feel like bad that about my situation, that I wasn't worthy, to feel I had a purpose. So now it's fun to tell my story. It's fun to talk to kids about their future. I try to engage with kids. Our local gym, I try to work out with them. I try to be involved in as many people's lives as I can because that's all I can do right now. Because I don't know what the future holds, if it'll ever get back into an airplane or not. I'm still trying. I'll still try till I can't. But my purpose is to basically help and change people's lives and tell my story.
Sure. And I think we did that today, right?
Yeah.
So we say Camp Freedom is life changing, and you're a testament to that.
Yeah, it absolutely was life changing. And I guess to wrap up today, I just want to thank everybody involved for having a place, a sanctuary like this for veterans and first responders like me to come to. I want to thank Bill and Laura for providing the ground and the facilities that we can enjoy this place. I want to thank Matt and Jamie and all of the staff and you and all of the volunteers that come here to make it, because I've seen, now that I've been involved for a few years, I've seen what it takes uh, uh, to make this happen, and it takes a lot. It takes a village, and I want to thank the incredible donors and supporters, because without them, this place wouldn't be possible. Um, it's a big operation, and I hope throughout these podcasts that they will get to hear stories like mine that will make their donations and their time, their volunteer time worth it.
Sure. Well, thank you for your service too.
Ah, thank you, Chelsea. Thanks for what you do.
Thank you. Thank you.